we are still early doors, I think, on this run, and we will see how that pans out. But you just have to watch the chart. If it's doing the zoom, if it stays on the zoom, it can go to 4,000 or 5,000. If suddenly stops and starts going sideways, like Bitcoin has, that's a sort of chart where you go, oh.
You're watching Silver News Daily. Subscribe for more.
Imagine a world where the next big investment opportunity isn't cryptocurrency, but a precious metal that's been around for centuries. What if I told you that silver is set to outperform not just gold, but the entire crypto market in 2024? Sounds unbelievable, right? But wait, Clem has uncovered key insights, showing why silver's potential rally could make it the safest and most profitable investment choice amid the current economic uncertainty. Stay with me, as in today's video, we're diving deep into why this overlooked metal might just be the financial move you need to know about.
You can see how my thesis has developed over that period of time. And, I'm not just very good at predicting the past. It's much easier to predict the past. And, being Captain Hindsight is easy, but being Major Foresight, that's more difficult. And, it's all there to be had. And I think we are not necessarily early days, but we are certainly quite early in this move. And, the thing that I see is that if you get away from the gold community, nobody cares. And that is always a sign that you're not at the end of a run. When it's on the 9 o'clock news or whatever the equivalent is these days, and everybody's, and you hear your next door neighbor say, oh, I hear gold's going up. Oh, do you think I should buy some? That's probably over then, or very close to being over. But at the moment, nobody cares. So that's a very strong signal that it's only in, the hands of the people that are in the know, or the people like us. I'm not really in the gold community, but, the gold community is going, oh, look at that, I told you. It's still within that group. It's only when the mainstream get it that you can say, well, it's mainly over now. The taxi driver asked me about gold, and the guy at work is jumping up and down saying how clever he is because he's got gold, and that is when it's over. So we are still early doors, I think, on this run, and we will see how that pans out. But you just have to watch the chart. If it's doing the zoom, if it stays on the zoom, it can go to 4,000 or 5,000. If suddenly stops and starts going sideways, like Bitcoin has, that's a sort of chart where you go, oh, it looks like it's had its moment. I used to go gold panning when I was younger and didn't mind standing up to my belly button in freezing cold water. And the old gold miners, who are very stereotypical old gold miners that know everything, they used to say, well, if you think it's gold, it isn't. If you know it's gold, it is. And it's the same in the markets. If you think it's going up, it isn't. If you know it's going up, it is. And the chart is a chart that says this is going up. There's, you can't really look at it and go, well, that's not going up. You look at it and you go, oh, that's going up. And when those things occur, you're in good shape if you're the sort of person that wants to be long. And you can see it in, as I say, chocolate did it. Gas does it, likes to do it off and on quite a lot. But if you go back over a lot of commodities over the last couple of years, you'll see that ballistic shape. And now it's in with gold. And hopefully it's just the same old. It's just another commodity doing that thing. But I think there's a very fundamental reason behind it. And that is because geopolitical tension is real. And governments are laying in gold because gold is for war, and they have to lay in their security. And individuals who are rich and closer to the tree from which the fruit falls are laying in Bitcoin, being the only crypto really you should care about, because they fear that if the day comes that they have to get on their private jet in 6 hours and only carrying a briefcase, they better have a large amount of Bitcoin.
Silver's rise isn't just a fluke. It's the result of several powerful economic forces aligning at the perfect moment. Right now, silver prices are climbing, reaching highs of $31.74, as falling U.S. Treasury yields and a renewed appetite for risk push investors into safe haven assets like precious metals. And it's not stopping there. Technical analysis shows momentum building up for bulls, with potential targets as high as $33 and beyond. But why is silver gaining such momentum when other assets, like cryptocurrencies, are struggling to keep pace? It comes down to silver's unique role as both a precious metal and an industrial powerhouse. While silver acts as a hedge against economic uncertainty, similar to gold, it also benefits from growing industrial demand. We're talking about its use in everything from electronics to solar panels, demand that continues to grow even as global supply tightens. And with experts predicting silver could reach $45 an ounce, a significant jump from current levels, it's clear that something big is brewing. So what does this mean for investors like you? Are we on the brink of a silver rally that could outshine not just gold, but also the entire crypto market? Stick with us as we explore why this trend could make silver the best investment move right now.
I'm British, so I don't want to interfere in your election and get arrested at the airport. But I would say that obviously Trump was a complete shoo-in, and now Harris is there. It looks like he's going to lose. And the only thing, I sat next to some really powerful financial people who are very, very democratic, who were, basically part of the wildly Trump deranged left wing, and Biden was in full power of his IQ, was healthy and spring chicken, and the Democrats were brilliant, and Trump was Satan incarnate, and the thought that occurred to me is the way that Trump can win, could win, is that the Democrats don't turn out. Because every single Trump supporter is going to turn out in droves. There's not going to be one Trump supporter that isn't going to go down to the ballot box. Whereas the Democrats go, oh, we've won this. Oh, well, we'll stay at home. And that could swing it Trump's way. But that's the only way, from the look of the polls, that he's going to get it. And, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, what's your choice? I mean, that's the thing about politics these days, is you don't get a choice, do you? I mean, you're between the devil and the deep blue sea. I mean, there's no Ronald Reagan. There's no crazy party and sane party. It's all so far polarized and off the dial. I mean, the only thing is, obviously, Democrats hate crypto. And Trump, at least, well, I believe that Trump wouldn't be anti-crypto, although the whole system he'd be running would be. So to an extent, as a crypto person, I mean, I would, the only reason, if I had to vote, I'd vote for Trump because he's been so horrifically bullied by the state lawfare system, that's what you call it, isn't it? That it's appalling that a political system can set the dogs on you like that, because that's not justice. And obviously, if you go back to Bill Clinton, they did it to him. And then they didn't do it to Bush, and then they didn't do it to Obama. They didn't do it to Biden, but they did the same thing that they did to Clinton. They're doing it to Trump. And when he left, that should have been the end of it, at least, and it carried on. So that's a terrible thing. And being an Englishman, I like to back the underdog. And it's appalling that what they've done to Trump and Giuliani as well, who was the hero of New York. I mean, he turned around New York from a hellhole into a really great city, and they've stuck it to him too. I mean, it's a terrible thing. So, I don't know, but I think it's going to be Democrat. And, I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's bad all over. I mean, the situation in the UK was pretty unbelievable. And, there's all these crazy people that, have a good chance of winning elections all over the place. And I think that's part of that's not going to make gold go down.
Now, let's take a closer look at why cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, are failing to keep pace with the momentum of silver. While digital currencies have attracted attention for their innovative technology and potential as digital assets, they come with significant risks that many investors overlook. Bitcoin, for instance, has experienced numerous price crashes and security breaches, with exchanges being hacked and billions of dollars disappearing overnight. This volatility makes crypto a far riskier asset, especially when compared to the tangible stability of precious metals. Clem Chambers highlights a crucial point here. When economic conditions become uncertain, people look for assets they can trust, and nothing compares to the physical nature of precious metals. Silver, unlike cryptocurrencies, is invulnerable to cyber attacks or digital theft, making it a safer bet during times of geopolitical tension or economic instability. While crypto enthusiasts argue that Bitcoin is the digital gold of the future, the reality is it has only a decade of history to back up those claims. Silver, on the other hand, has a track record spanning thousands of years as a reliable store of value. As global markets continue to react to economic pressures, investors are increasingly turning away from the volatile swings of cryptocurrencies and putting their faith and money in silver. So, is it time to reconsider the role of cryptocurrency in the portfolio? With silver showing a stable and upward trajectory, the contrast between these two assets couldn't be clearer.
I don't think you have to look to America or its election to understand or feel the instability. I mean, the instability is deep in China. I mean, I think China's actually now gone through the bottom. And if you think about COVID and how long it took them to turn the COVID dynamic around and unlock China, it's kind of in pace with the opening up of the West. West opened up earlier, China carried on for a lot longer, and then, opened up again. They've been in economic difficulties longer because they opened up later. But when you actually look at the, what's gone on in China, and you can see that perhaps, the return to a more old-fashioned communist way of looking at the world has done them great damage. And you can't help but wonder why children aren't allowed to play computer games during the week anymore, or why they have to go out and get physically fit, and they're not allowed to learn English language anymore. And, that's all very, very, warlike. And so if you forgot America, Elon flew you all to Mars. You've got China's a problem. You've got Russia's a problem. You've got Iran's a problem. Well, what continent? I mean, who's causing trouble in Antarctica? Because there's always someone at it everywhere else, really. So it's like it's a increasingly spinning up dynamic where, is Putin going anywhere in the next 5 years? Maybe. Is Xi going anywhere in the next 5 years? No. Is North Korea going anywhere in the next 5 years? No. Is the mullahs in Iran going anywhere in the next 5 years? No. Well, they're not going to suddenly, all start singing Kumbaya, are they? And so it's kind of like a one-way bet. It's almost parallel to the old thing about the Fed always pumping money into the system. They're going to be buying everything forever. And, these dynamics are going to be causing trouble everywhere forever. So what's the downside on the price of strategic things? There doesn't seem to be any. I mean, I hate that. I just hate that. It's just horrible. But what can you do? I mean, in a sense, the best way to approach these matters is to support the markets, because the markets are the arbiter, if they're allowed to be, of who's on the right side of it. And so that's how I feel. But, there's no end in sight in the slow but sure ratcheting up of tensions, which is inflationary, of course. And inflationary, when the value of money goes down, the value of assets go up, or the number on the sticker goes up. So, that also drives things like stocks. So there's very little downside in being the nominal assets.
One of the biggest factors driving silver's potential is its growing industrial demand, which is outpacing its supply. Unlike gold, which is primarily held for investment in jewelry, silver is a critical component in numerous industries. It's used in electronics, solar panels, automotive parts, and even in medical devices due to its antimicrobial properties. As the world leans more into green technologies, particularly solar energy, the demand for silver is expected to skyrocket. Recent reports from the LBMA survey show that experts predict silver prices could soar to $4 to $5 an ounce, a 43% increase from current levels. This bullish outlook is fueled by the fact that silver's industrial applications are expanding rapidly and the supply is struggling to keep up. With the push towards cleaner energy and the rise in consumer electronics, silver isn't just an investment, it's a critical resource that industries are heavily reliant on. But here's the key takeaway. This growing demand isn't just a temporary trend, it's a long-term shift. As industries continue to innovate and expand, the demand for silver will only increase, creating a powerful upward force on its price. So, could this surge in industrial demand be the primary catalyst behind silver's potential rally? And if so, what does this mean for those looking to capitalize on this trend? Silver isn't just a safe haven asset, it's a strategic play that taps into the future of technology and energy. Are you prepared to take advantage of this opportunity before the rest of the market catches on?
Sure. But if you were on the tarmac trying to get into the helicopter and you're going to get told your $5 million has to get left behind because the helicopter can't take the weight, like some minister in Afghanistan did only a few years ago, you're not going to make that mistake twice, are you? And try going through any internet. Try to get from your local airport with, I don't know, $500,000 of gold bars in your suitcase. Just try that. You're not getting on that plane. They're not going to let you. And your gold's going to probably, take a lot of explaining to get back. Yeah. But nobody would know that you've got 5 million, 50 million, 500 million of Bitcoin. So if you're the sort of person who might have that sort of money and might have to get out of Dodge, I don't know, this afternoon, it's not going to be with gold. It's going to be with Bitcoin. So those two things run together. If I was a rich man in Taiwan and I thought there was, 5% chance of China coming over the seas to it, how much would I have in Bitcoin? Because there's no point me trying to get to the airport with gold, is there? Yeah, you can lay it in early. You can get it out of the country now. Well, some countries you can't do that. But you are going to have the flight capital now is crypto, not gold. And, haven capital, flight capital, gold is state capital for terrible situations. Bitcoin would be the sort of capital that somebody who might think the worst is going to happen would lay some aside to. And as tensions rise, those things will go together. Now, people are saying that it's increased liquidity coming in for central banks, and that is flushing into Bitcoin. And of course, there is an element of that, without doubt. Liquidity, i.e., cash, being pushed into the market as is really being pushed into the market in China in the last few days. That is going to go into all assets. But if you look at gold, when they went massive QE, when they go, we're going to save the world because of COVID, or we're going to save the world because of 2008, it doesn't actually, slingshot gold. It lifts things. I mean, it's more lifts equities than anything else. But, the sort of thing you're seeing now, I believe, is directly linked to this vicious cycle of increased geopolitical tensions. And the thing is that it's a leading indicator of what happens next. It's not what has happened, it's what is happening now at the levels of the sort of people that are driving these prices. They know what's going on and we don't. We'll read about it in 3 months. So, if gold were to start to fall back off again and Bitcoin would start to fall back off again, that would actually be good news for the world. But if it keeps on going up, that's bad. It's very, very bad. And I'm not happy about it at all. But you trade what you see, not what you think. And you certainly trade what you see, not what you hope for. As they say in chess, there's no good playing hope.
Silver's role as a hedge against economic uncertainty is another critical factor that makes it a standout investment choice. Historically, silver, like gold, has been a go-to asset when markets face turbulence. But here's the twist. Silver's lower price point and higher volatility compared to gold mean it often delivers larger percentage gains when markets shift. Amid the rising global tensions, Whether it's the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, instability in the Middle East, or escalating economic standoffs between major powers like the US and China, investors are flocking to precious metals as a shield against these uncertainties. When the world enters crisis mode, traditional assets like stocks and bonds become riskier, while physical commodities like silver offer a stable and reliable alternative. Clem points out that while cryptocurrencies and other assets may seem attractive during bullish market phases, they fail to provide the same level of security when uncertainty strikes. Silver, on the other hand, not only retains value, but often appreciates as investors seek refuge in hard assets. This makes it an ideal choice for those who want to protect their wealth from potential downturns or market shocks. Given the increasing frequency and scale of geopolitical conflicts, the appeal of silver as a hedge is more relevant than ever. The question is, are you prepared to add an asset like silver to your portfolio as a protective measure, especially when other investments might not withstand the storm? Silver's dual role as both an industrial metal and a safe haven investment provides a unique opportunity to capitalize on its rising demand, while safeguarding against global economic challenges.
Fall off is wanting to be falling off, and something is in there supporting it. And, you can look at crypto and say, well, the SEC hates crypto, and, probably the Democrats are going to get back in and they really hate crypto. And all the regulators around the world have, in one way or the other, basically defanged crypto by making it very difficult to actually build anything crypto because of all the rules. And, although some people say that crypto isn't illegal in China, try not to have too much of it over there, or, you might go missing. The police might arrest you and say, oh, thank you very much for your crypto. You're a bad person. So, all around the world, depending on where you look, crypto is hardly welcomed anywhere, really. And that kind of takes out the upward pressure that's been on crypto for the last decade. Because, you can't it's extremely difficult to do an ICO. It's extremely difficult to do a game with a crypto in it and not break some rule of money. Crypto is now no longer, there's no rules about crypto. There's plenty of rules about crypto, and many that aren't exactly written out so that you can actually obey them. So crypto has got that lid on it, but something's keeping it up. And what's keeping it up is this geopolitical tension. And, if suddenly Bitcoin went to 100,000, that would really be a bad sign for somewhere. But, it doesn't matter whether it be a good or bad sign. That's what would happen. And, if you've got a position in crypto, that's kind of one of the few reasons to have one at the moment, is that things are getting, increasingly slowly but surely and unhappily worse. And that is, quite sobering, really. And, while countries are laying in gold, individuals are laying in crypto. And if good news suddenly broke out, if things, went right all of a sudden, you'd see that turn around. But, it would take a real optimist to see that, things are going to get easier with the China-Taiwan situation, with the Iran-Israel situation, or however you want to spin that, or the Ukrainian-Russia situation. There's no end in sight in any of them. And so much potential for them to get a lot worse. So I think that's essentially what you are seeing with the gold price and with the crypto price. You're seeing a not improving situation when it comes to geopolitics.
When it comes to volatility, silver and cryptocurrencies couldn't be more different. Silver, while historically more volatile than gold, still operates within predictable patterns tied to its tangible value and industrial uses. Cryptocurrencies, however, are notorious for their wild swings. Bitcoin, for example, can lose or gain thousands of dollars in value within hours due to a single tweet or market rumor. This level of unpredictability makes crypto an incredibly risky asset for investors seeking stability, especially during economic uncertainty. Silver's price movements, on the other hand, are typically influenced by macroeconomic factors like interest rates, inflation, and industrial demand factors that provide investors with more transparency and foresight. When you invest in silver, You're putting your money into a physical asset that has a proven track record of weathering economic storms. This is in stark contrast to digital currencies, which have been around for just over a decade and have already seen numerous boom and bust cycles. Clem emphasizes this contrast, noting that while cryptocurrencies may have captured the public's imagination, they lack the historical backing that precious metals like silver possess. Silver offers the best of both worlds. The stability of a physical asset combined with the potential for growth driven by both investment demand and its critical industrial applications. As the economic landscape continues to shift, will investors prioritize the safety and tangible value of silver over the hype and volatility of cryptocurrencies? The choice could determine the long-term stability of your portfolio. What do you think? Can silver offer the kind of reliability that cryptocurrencies can't? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments.
What I see in the charts is a potential that's not the same as fate, is the potential for $4,000 to $5,000. And if it does that kind of a move, it's not going to hang around. It's going to kind of, head straight there in a pretty much straight line. So all you have to do is just watch it go. And if it stops going in a straight line, in a way, you can breathe a sigh of relief. And you can thank our lucky stars that, it's, I don't know, I don't need to make money out of such a situation. But as I say, it's not what I think. The market doesn't listen to me. But you can watch it, and if it goes straight up or carries on that vertical, that's what it's telling you. And all you have to do is watch that vertical to see whether it tops out, whether it carries. You see, there's a classic boom, bubble, bust chart. And we've seen it in pretty much all the commodities over the last few years. Chocolate a few months ago, it just goes up what I call the hockey stick. It's a fish hook, and it goes up that fish hook. I mean, Apple's done it. .com boom did it. I mean, it's a classic boom, bubble, bust chart. Bitcoin's done it so many times, it's not worth mentioning. But you can go back and look at that form of boom, bubble chart. And that happened in gold back in 80, whenever it was, 79, 80s. And you can see that shape. And that's what it will do until it stops. And you can watch that form, and it's pretty, it's a strong chart pattern that you can just see. It's ballistic. It's a ballistic parabola. Just watch it. And the moment it stops doing it, the moment you can't fit it into that parabola, the move's probably over. Okay? It is on the early stages of that right now. And it looks mighty. And if it doesn't go there, if it starts performing, going sideways or being normal, well, that boom cycle is finished. Whatever was driving it is over. And what is driving it is probably about 8 to 10 weeks away from what we get to know. Yeah, because we simply do not have spy satellites, do we? And people on the ground, like other people do. And obviously that information flows, and we may not be the last to hear it, but we're pretty much the last to hear. But you'll see it in the chart. And that chart is looking forward to 5,000. And if it goes on that run, the actual top of it is very hard to predict. It's the angle of attack that you have to watch for, and the maintenance of that kind of, rocket takeoff. And gold is on that now, early days. You see, it's very easy to look at the chart in the past and go, oh, look at that, it was obvious. The thing is to be able to spot it before it's really obvious. And that's about now. Well, it was about now. It was about a year ago when I wrote about it in Forbes, and you can go back to Forbes and see all the things I've written about it. And
according to Clem, the debate between silver and cryptocurrency boils down to one simple principle: trust. While cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have emerged as digital alternatives, their value is largely speculative and dependent on technology, regulatory environments, and market sentiment. Silver, however, is rooted in centuries of history as a reliable store of value, particularly in times of crisis. Chambers highlights that during periods of economic instability or geopolitical tension, governments and wealthy investors historically turn to gold and silver to preserve their wealth. The physical, tangible nature of these metals provides a sense of security that digital assets simply can't match. This is especially true for silver, which not only acts as a financial hedge but also has significant industrial demand backing its value. He goes on to explain that as economic uncertainty rises, individuals and governments are choosing silver for its accessibility and practicality. Unlike gold, silver is far more affordable, making it accessible to a broader range of investors, and its industrial applications ensure that it remains in demand regardless of market sentiment. Essentially, silver serves as the perfect middle ground between the high volatility of cryptocurrencies and a higher price point of gold. This brings up a critical point. As tensions rise and markets react, silver may become the go-to choice for both small and large-scale investors alike. With predictions that silver could reach $45 an ounce, it's clear that those seeking stability in their investments might find the metal's promise hard to ignore. So, will you be following the advice of market experts like Clem and hedge your portfolio with silver, or will you continue to bet on the unpredictable nature of cryptocurrency?
You'll be aware of it, which is don't trade what you think, trade what you see. And I was looking at the gold chart, and it was like, well, if you go through this level of what was then a sideways trading, this thing's going to move. And, that's what I saw. So I wrote about that in Forbes. And then, as time passed, I was looking at it going, this is going to go to 2,600. But I couldn't see it going any further. And of course, I'm not a gold person. I've got quite a bit of gold, but that's as a part of a diversified portfolio. And I always say that as a part of a diversified portfolio, it's a great thing. I'm not a, sort of person that wants to emigrate to New Zealand and have a basement full of gold bars and bullets and tinned beef. But it's great as part of a diversified portfolio of risk. So I'm looking at it and I couldn't see it going past 2,600. Then all of a sudden, the chart's saying 4,000 to 5,000. But before I was seeing that, you think, well, what's the point of gold? Everyone's saying, well, of course, it's the original money and it's going to be money again and the dollar's going to go away and all that stuff. And, maybe the end of the world is nigh. But if it isn't nigh, none of that's going to happen. Gold's never going to be a coin, which is very unpopular amongst a certain audience to say that. However, what is the point of gold? Why do governments have huge buildings full of billions in gold? Well, it's because when there's a war, if there's a war, for many countries, the only currency is gold. So you can definitely say that gold is currency, but it's a currency of governments in the most extreme of times. And if you go back to, say, the Second World War, you had mountains full of gold that the Germans laid in. You had the British shipping gold in submarines and warships to America to pay for the goods that were being bought by Britain. Nobody takes your paper in war. So you see that gold, what is the use case of gold? Yes, jewelry. Yes, nice shiny things. Yes, electronics. But the ultimate user of gold, the guys that stack this stuff to the roof, historically have been governments because it is, I call them bullets.
Silver's explosive potential is becoming clearer as economic pressures and global tensions intensify. Experts, including Clem, are signaling that silver could be on the verge of a major rally, potentially hitting $45 an ounce or higher. With growing industrial demand and its role as a safe haven asset, silver's unique position could make it one of the best investments you can make right now. But why is this rally different from the past? The perfect storm is brewing. Declining treasury yields, a shifting risk sentiment, and the increasing need for tangible, reliable assets in uncertain times. While cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin struggle to prove their worth as stable investments, silver's dual role in both the industrial and investment sectors offers an unparalleled advantage. As central banks and investors seek protection against inflation and geopolitical risks, silver is becoming the asset of choice. So, what does this mean for you as an investor? It means that waiting too long could mean missing out on the upside. With silver's price trajectory showing strong momentum, the window to get in before prices surge further is narrowing. Now is the time to act. Consider the potential of silver not only as a hedge, but as an opportunity to profit from the next big market move. Remember, these insights from experts are here to guide you, but always conduct your own research before making investment decisions. If you want to stay ahead of the game, make sure to subscribe and keep an eye on these updates, because the silver market is just heating up. As always, this is not financial advice. Make sure to consult with a financial advisor and do your own research before making any investment decisions.
Gold is bullets, golden bullets. And of course, if you're a government and tensions increase, well, what are you going to do? You've got to look to your security, which is the primary purpose of government, is security, and say, well, if things are getting more spicy out there, if tensions are going to go up, we need more gold in, the reserve, because if things go horribly wrong, that's the only thing that's going to keep us in any war, keep us going. And if you look at the world and you imagine, well, we're all our own little government, and a lot of people buy gold on the same basis. If you look at governments, they would actually be pretty, optimistic if they weren't seeing the world getting more and more stressed out and tension rising. So it's ultimately what they're going to do is buy gold. And that's what is pushing gold. They are seeing this ever increasing spiral of tension. And, 18 months ago, you would have said that would be just the Ukraine and Russia. And then up comes the Middle East situation, which is always tense and now is super tense. And some people are absolutely losing their mind over China and Taiwan. I mean, that is a major, I think it probably dwarfs the potential for massive dislocation more than any of the others, however bad they are. China, Taiwan, So it's not surprising that lots of governments are laying in gold. I mean, we know that China is doing that itself. So, gold is the chosen hedge, if you want to look at it. I don't see it as a hedge, but, it's the chosen element that you have to put in your arsenal. If you are rearming, it's a part of a rearming thing. And then if you take away the idea of that occurring because of governments, and you think, well, what are individuals going to do? What would you do if you thought you might be on a losing side, or if you thought you and your family might have to leave your country, go somewhere else, which is not a rare event. I mean, last crypto, it was Afghanistan. So from an individual point of view, gold's no good. Gold's too heavy. Gold's hard to store. Gold's very, inverted commas, illiquid. But crypto isn't. Bitcoin isn't. So what I think you're seeing is, you're seeing countries getting more stressed and laying in more gold, pushing the gold price. And recently you're seeing individuals on the sides of these conflicts actually stacking up on Bitcoin. Because, if you, Elijah, had to go to the airport with all your net wealth on you and go somewhere else, you wouldn't